Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining. See if my speakerphone is on. Oh, now I'm on speakerphone. Okay. All right. Welcome to the Dvar Malchus Shir on Parshas Naso. Just give me 1 second here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvarai. Okay, we are going to learn now this is going to be the third class on Parshas Naso, Dvar Malchus. This week is Parshas Naso, so it's extra special. It was a surprise Farbrengen that the Rebbe came down on after Mincha. And literally, there's like maybe 50 people there in 770. It was mamash a surprise, and no one knew. And he just came down himself, holding a pail of Natilas Yadayim, coming to wash. It was a himmelish moment. It was meaning to say it was not part of the Seder. It was like some, and obviously the Sikha that we're learning over here is on a whole different scale. It's so powerful. It's very, very special. Anyways, we were holding over here by Siv Zion. I thought I'll be able to finish this week, but there's so much Teichen over here that I'd probably going to end up for the last 2-3 sifim that are very important to leave it for next week. So let's try to go from Zion through Yud Beis. Okay. So the main akudah, let me just chazer over just the main idea. The main idea, what we're learning over here, is the Rebbe said that Matan Torah B'chlal is a time for renewal, where the Torah is renewed every year, and it's also related to Shabbos after Matan Torah, which is this Shabbos, Parshas Naso. It continues the idea of Chidush in Torah, and the Rebbe explains that Chidush, to understand what's so special about Shabbos after in the inyan of Chidush, and he says, because what's the chidush that we're talking about? There is the renewal, and that Torah regenerates itself every year, and we find that in creation as well, that creation is renewed every moment and every day, and especially once a year on Rosh Hashanah. And since the world is derived from Torah, so the regeneration of the world, both daily and especially once a year, is a derivative of the regeneration of Torah, which also happens daily and continuously, and also, but be'ikr, once a year on Shavuos. But that's one inyan. But then there is another inyan, a deeper inyan, and that is that there is not just a renewal in Torah, but there's actually news in Torah, new ideas, novel aspects. And what are these novel things? These called Chidushei Torah. And there's 2 levels in Chidushei Torah. There is the Chidushei Torah that people are machadish, that novel ideas that have been innovated throughout all of history, from when the Torah was given for the last 3,300 years, 3,332 or 32 years, in which Chachmei Yisroel and Tzadikim and Talmidei Chachamim and people that probe the Torah, all the chidushim that were said, all the new ideas, novel ideas of Torah. And even though this was already given at Har Sinai, but we know that it was given just in potential, it was given just in the general outline, it wasn't specified. And when Yidden apply what we call Torah Shebal Peh, and we specify it, we bring it out, that's called the real chidush. Even though it was potentially already all there in Torah Shebeksav and in Aseres HaDibros, and ultimately into the mamash, the words that Hashem said by Aseres HaDibros, it included every chiddush that everybody will say, but so that's called chidushim. That's one level in chiddush. And then there's the next level of chiddush, the primary chiddush of Torah. That's called the introductory chiddush in Torah. The ultimate primary chiddush in Torah is when Hashem is going to start studying with us Torah and revealing the Torah on the deepest level. Torah Chadasha Me'iti Teitze, which Chazal tell us that the Torah that we learned until this time, compared to the Torah of Mashiach, is considered hevel. That's how new the new Torah is going to look, because of the great idea that it's Hashem who is going to expound. Hashem is going to open up the Torah on levels that we have never even dreamt of. And the light and the true essence of Torah is going to come pouring out. And that's the second. That's a whole new level in Chidush Torah. Not just that Torah renews itself, but there's actually newness every year. There's taka new in Yanim. And the ultimate Chiddush is the newness that's going to come by Torah Chadasha. Now the Rebbe says, as a result of the just like we said earlier, that the world is a derivative of Torah, so the new Torah that's going to be brought to light through the Eibishter, conveyed to Mashiach Tzedkenu, and he's going to be the one who's going to teach it to us. And then it's going to be so new, even though it's the same old Torah, but the Torah is going to be so metamorphosized because of the Chidushim that it's going to look like something totally new. That's the idea. It's going to be like a Torah Chadasha. The same is also going to happen to the world, that we're going to experience Shamayim v'sa'aretz asher ani oiseh, Shamayim achadashim v'aretz achadasha. It's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. What does it mean, a new heaven and a new earth? Not that there's a new Bereshis bara Elokim Shamayim v'sa'aretz. That's it. Hashem created heaven and earth. The new heaven and earth that we're talking about is that the world is going to look new, and the aretz is going to look new. It's going to be unrecognizable. The reason why the world is going to be unrecognizable, is because we're going to be megala in the world. The world till now is a helim v'hester. It's concealed. It's going to be a world with Gilui Elokus, with godly revelation. But the Rebbe takes it much further. If we can, is there any way you can go back? Is there any way you can go back to muting it and unmuting me, or I can unmute myself? Let's try that, because I'm getting a lot from the Baruch Hashem, from the great audience. So let me. Okay, it seems like it's quiet. Let me see if I have to push. Let me try.
Muted.
Okay.
Unmuted.
Okay, good. I'm unmuted now. It's quiet. Okay, so we're good. All right. So the chiddush is that even though there is certain godly ideas that have been revealed in the world, that people, Avram Avinu discovered Hashem, and so on and so forth, throughout the ages, but there is one inyan that's the ikr primary element of, just like in Torah, there are the chidushim that we say throughout history, but yet it's not the full unraveling of the Torah. It's only considered a small little part of the Torah that is unraveled and revealed, including all the chidushim that were ever said. In the world, and the ikr chiddush is going to be only when Mashiach comes, and Hashem will reveal it. So the same is also with the world, that only when Hashem reveals the ikr chiddush in Torah, the real in pnimius of Torah that's going to be revealed when Mashiach will come, will the real godliness of the world be revealed. And what is that? That's the koyach ha'atzmos, the power of the Eibishter himself, that's responsible for the metzias, for the gashmias of this world. As we know, that the geshem ha'olam, the very material, physical substance of the gashmistic world, can only be so grub and so can only take itself so seriously and claim beingness and existence, as the Alter Rebbe explains. That's because it's sensing it's not really sensing, it's expressing rather without sensing the true eye, the eye of eyes, the real Metzias Amitis, which is Hashem's very essence, not Hashem's lights, not Hashem's expressions, no matter how high these expressions are, but Hashem's very essence, whose existence is from himself, and that is somehow hijacked and misplaced in the yeshus of this world, of the yesh hagashmi, and that's called the koyach of atzmos, the koyach of the God's very essence that's in gashmias, and it's imparting to gashmias that impossible feeling that I exist without a source, And that is the ikr of Elokus, because that's the Eibishter himself, not a ray or a glow or a radiance or some kind of ziv hashchina, but it's the Eibishter himself. That has not been revealed yet, even by and any time, even by Matan Torah. As the Rebbe says in the Ha'ara, there's a big suffix if the koyach ha'atzmus, that's be'olam hazeh hagashmi, if that was revealed by Matan Torah. And now we understand why it wasn't revealed by Matan Torah. Because since Torah was only partially revealed, the godliness in creation was only partially revealed. Only when the full revelation of Torah is going to happen will it result as a consequence of the full revelation of koyach Eloki, of the divinity that's within creation, which is really koyach ha'atzmos, that has not been revealed. That's going to be revealed when Mashiach comes. And that's going to result that it's going to be look like a new world. And a Shemayim HaChadasha and a Aretz HaChadasha, just like in Torah, it's going to be Torah Chadasha. That's what we learned, a summary of what we learned till now. Now the Rebbe says, so based on this, we're going to understand the Gewaldige Chiddush of what this Shabbos is more than what happened last Shabbos on Shavuos. In other words, the Chiddush in Torah that happens Shabbos Parshas Naso, the Shabbos after Matan Torah, is greater in a sense than what we got on actually last week on Matan Torah itself, on Shavuos. Because on Shavuos what happens, you have Matan Torah. It reoccurs again, the occurrence of the giving of the Torah. As that Hashem is transmitting the Torah. But as we said earlier, when Hashem is transmitting the Torah, it contains in itself, behelim, in a concealed potential way, all the Chidushim. Even the Torah Chadasha that's going to come out when Mashiach comes, even that is contained in a potential by Matan Torah. But it's only in potential. It's behelim, it's concealed. It's given, because as the Rebbe Rashab said, and the Rebbe emphasized, Matan Torah will not happen again. It was given once and it will never repeat itself again. But that's the transmission. Let me put it this way, in modern terminology, that's the downloading. But it's a zip drive. So the opening of this file and the unzipping it and pulling out all the treasures that are in it, that's the Chidush Torah that begins the moment the Jewish people start learning Torah after Shavuos. See, when the Eibishter gave the Torah, he downloaded. But now we have to begin the extrapolation. And that's Chidush Torah. And in that there is layers and layers and layers until we reach the ultimate final extrapolation that Mashiach Tzidkenu is going to do, communicated directly to him from the Eibishter himself, learning the Torah and unzipping the Torah on the deepest level. That element is not Shayach to Shavuos. Shavuos is Matan Torah, not Giloi HaTorah. Shabbos after Shavuos is the Shabbos that represents the idea of opening the Torah. After we've received a closed Torah, now we're opening it and beginning to be Mechadish Chedushim, and therefore, especially we're living now in the days of Mashiach, it's when we say opening the Torah, we mean opening the Torah in a Mashiach way. Opening the Torah in its ultimate opening, and that's the opening of Torah Chadasha. Now, why is it Shaykh to Shabbos, other than it's the Shabbos after Shavuos? Other than the idea that it's a day after, and now we begin the process of dismantling, excavating, and exploring, investigating, researching. I think excavating is a better word, to mine the treasures that there is in the gift that we were given. So why is it that shaykh to the Shabbos? So here the Rebbe is going to explain that since it's the Shabbos after Matan Torah, we see this inyan in everything. We see it in the Parsha, and we see it in Pirkei Avos. And what's going to be is the Rebbe is now going to go on to a dazzling explanation how three main nekudas, which I'm going to give an introduction. Number one, the chidush in Torah, the Torah Chadasha that we have this Shabbos, how we see it in the Parsha of the week. The Torah Chadasha as we that comes on this Shabbos. In other words, the Giloi, the revelation, the Chidush, that's called Chidushay Torah. Chidushay Torah means to be Megala, to reveal in Torah that which was given to us, but we didn't see it till now. To be Megala it. How that's seen in Parshas Naso, how that is seen in Pirkei Avos, and how that is seen Bichlal in the Inyan of Shabbos itself. Again, three things. Parshas HaShavua, Pirkei Avos, and Shabbos itself, the Inyan of Shabbos. And then the Rebbe is going to show us in these three parts to the Shabbos, which is the Shabbos, the Parsha, the Pirkei Avos, and the idea that it's Shabbos itself. How we're going to find the second concept, and that is, what's the second concept? That as a result of the Torah Chadasha that we reveal, we also uncover the Shamayim HaChadasha and the Oretz HaChadasha, the new Shamayim and the new Oretz, which, by the way, is so comforting for us now, because as anybody realizes, the old Shamayim and the old Oretz, there's not much to come back to. It's been decimated. This year, this Sikh is so important, because if you take a walk through the streets of Los Angeles, or you take a walk through the streets of New York City, you straight to look at the world has been destroyed. Whatever it's mamish like it says in Mitzrayim, whatever the Makas Bara did not finish off, whatever was not totally decimated and destroyed by Makas Bara, came Makas Arbe and finished up. And that's what we're holding right now. You had like one after another. Decimation on top of decimation. So, what are you going to salvage? We need the Shamayim HaChadasha. We need the Oretz HaChadasha. In other words, I think the only remedy that we can see right now is not to try to fix this broken thing. It's not that. It's to realize that the reason it's breaking is because beneath it is growing a new world. And the old world is crumbling on the top, like the snake removing its skin. A snake is a negative thing. I'm trying to find something. We're an old, it's like, a wound, old skin that's been bad. It like peels off because there's fresh, healthy skin growing beneath it. And that's what's happening. A new world is emerging. A Torah Chadasha, a new Torah is emerging. And as a result of the new Torah that we are learning right now that is emerging, a new Shamayim and a new Aretz has to emerge. And now we have no other choice, because you can see that. And not only that we have no choice, not only because it's destroyed, we have no other choice, we must get the new one, but even deeper, the only reason the old one is crumbling is because a new one is coming out beneath it. We don't see it yet, maybe, but that's really what's happening. So the Rebbe is going to show how the Shamayim HaChadasha and the Oretz HaChadasha is also reflected in all these three above mentioned elements of this Shabbos. In Parshas Naso, in Pirkei Avos, and in Shabbos itself. And then the third thing. What's going to be the third thing? What does it take in order to activate the Torah Chadasha? What does it take in order to activate the Shamayim HaChadash, to access it? Okay, it's this gewaldige Torah Chadasha. The Eibishter is going to have to do it, because Hashem has to reveal. That's what the Rebbe was saying, the whole Sikha. No matter how much we learn, we're only learning the external. And only Hashem can reveal Torah Chadash. And only Hashem can Boirei Asharani Oisei reveal the Koyach HaAtzmos that's in Shamayim V'Aretz, that's going to bring us this new magnificent world, where the Tachtain is not going to be Tachtain anymore, where he's not going to be considered a lowly thing. It's a whole new Metzias. So if God can do it, so then we can sit back and say, you know what, we'll wait till the Eibishter does it. And the Rebbe is going to show, no. In this parsha, it's going to show us what does it take to make it revealed, because even this, we need to trigger it. We need to make it happen. And the Rebbe is going to show that we didn't learn yet. What it takes to make it happen, we didn't learn yet in this Sikha. And the Rebbe is we're going to get to it soon. But the Rebbe is going to show how the method is also, not just the content, but the method as well is hinted to both in the Parsha and in Pirkei Avos and in the Inyan of Shabbos itself. So let's begin. So these are the three things. The new Torah, the new world, and the manner in which we do it, get to it. Those are the three things. And the Rebbe is going to show how it's revealed in all three places. In Parshas HaShavua, in Pirkei Avos, and in Shabbos. So let's begin with Parshas HaShavua. In Parshas HaShavua, the Parsha is called, and in each of these places, it's like, until the Rebbe says it, it's impossible to see it. Once he says it, it's obvious. The name of the Parsha is Naso Yisroel. Now, what does Naso Yisroel mean? Lift the head. What's the head? The head means seichel, intelligence. Lifting the head means lifting your intelligence to a higher place. Right? So simply that would mean what? Lifting your intelligence, meaning upgrading the intelligence. Upgrading intelligence. Well, that itself can already imply Torah Chadasha. Because upgrading the intelligence, what's the intelligence? The intelligence is Torah. Upgrading Torah to the Torah Chadasha. But the Rebbe doesn't really say that. Because that wouldn't be so much, just upgrading the intelligence is not so much the inyan over here, because that's not lifting the head. That's expanding the head. Lifting the head means lifting the head to a place beyond the head. That means lifting the intelligence to a place beyond the intelligence. That means intelligence is the first koyach in the nefesh. Chabad is the first gilui nefesh. Is a gilui pnimi, internal gilui is your Chabad. Lifting the moichin means lifting the moichin to the koiches makifim, to the encompassing powers. And the ikr, the Rebbe says, to the pnimius of the koyach hamakif, the highest and power within the person, the highest level of consciousness within the human being. In a sense, most of the time, even pre-consciousness. And that is the level of pleasure, the koyach hatayno, which is so deep and so essential, that most of the time we don't even feel it. It reveals itself only, the tail end of it expresses itself. In all the other koyches, you have a pleasure in seeing, a pleasure in hearing, but the main bulk of the essence of koyach hatayno remains elusive. But that's where life really takes place, in koyach hatayno. And the Rebbe says, Nasa Yisroel means lifting the moichin to the koyach hatayno, into tainug. The simple words, that means limud ha-Torah ba'ofen shel tainug. Not just learning Torah, but learning Torah in a manner of tainug. What does that do? When the difference of learning Torah stam or learning Torah with tainug is that when you learn Torah plain, then you're only operating on the level of your koyach hagolui, your koyach hanigla of your moichin. Your revealed part of your moichin is limited, is fixed, is set. And therefore, how much do you understand already? How much do we grasp? How much do we experience in learning? Not that much. It's very limited. It's like based on whatever I understood yesterday, I understand today. It's when you sit down to learn, and you sit down and you're not just present with your intellect, you're present with your entire being. You bring your etzem hanefesh to the learning. You bring your koyach hatainug in. You know that, I'm going to learn Torah now. Yeah, you activate your tainug. And you're learning with pleasure. You know what happens? Magic happens. Suddenly innovation begins. Innovation happens when you study. I mean, it could happen even less, but it can happen even when you're not learning. A person can innovate even when in dry learning, but it's going to be much less likely. Usually the greatest innovations happen when you're learning with pleasure. The pleasure in learning brings you, why? Because the pleasure is from your koyach hanefesh that's higher than your moichin. And therefore you're opening up your moichin, your brain, your chabad, your seichel, to the koyach habli gavul of your nefesh, to the power of endless innovation. And that's when you get chidushei Torah. What's the whole inyan that the Rebbe is saying? What are we looking for? What are we looking in the Shabbos after Shavuos? We're looking for chidushei Torah on two levels. First of all, we should be machadish in Torah. Again, all the chidushim that Bnei Yisrael say throughout all the generations. When do we say chidushei Torah? When Nasa Yisroel. When we're lifting our head up to our koyach hatainug, through the koyach hatainug, it releases, it empowers, it invigorates the learning, that the learning is full of chidushim, because you're learning with pleasure. And that activates the inyan of bli gvul in your learning. And not only does it do it, and that's number one, that's in us, but it doesn't say Nasa Yisroel, it doesn't say whose head. It says Nasa Yisroel b'nei Levi, but just Nasa Yisroel means also the Rosh of who? The Rosh in general, whose head? That means the Moichin of above, the Eibishter's Moichin, Torah itself, the entire Torah itself gets lifted to where? To the Eibishter's Koyach HaTainug. And that's the Gilui of Torah Chadasha. Because Torah Chadasha is going to be the Gilui of Chidushei Torah that are coming because we're opening up Torah to the power of the Eibishter's Oineg. And that's why, Taka, what's going to be the Gilui? What does Rashi say? What's the Torah Chadasha consist of? The Eibishter is going to reveal Tamei Torah. And what's the Tamei Torah? Tamei Torah means that the reason. And Chassidus explains it doesn't mean intellectual reasons. It means the Eibishter is going to reveal his sensation, his pleasure that he has, the delight that he has in all these mitzvahs and in all the nuances of Torah and in every halacha, the underlying divine, godly, not godly, God himself, his pleasure, the atzmiyistic pleasure that the Eibishter has. And that's going to bring about this Torah Chadasha, this whole new experience of Torah learning on a level of exhilarating, mamish, exhilarating ecstasy and bliss that we can't even imagine in Limud HaTorah. That is going to come about of it. That's Naso Yesroish on all levels. And the Rebbe says, even though Naso Yesroish L'choira says, whose head? B'nei Gershon, which Gershon is only one Shevet of the Leviim, so it's only Shevet Levi. And here we're saying that that Naso Yisroel is referring to all of us, that alle Yidden should learn Torah, should be mechadish in Torah, through elevating our head to the Koyach HaTainug, but it's only Shevet Levi. It's only an exclusive group of Yidden. So the Rebbe says no. Because the Rambam says that Shevet Levi is not such an exclusive group that only is a club where that there's no outside membership. It's not true. The Rambam says that everybody can become a member of Shevet Levi, not benegeya to working in the Beis HaMikdash, that not, but regarding the general idea that you have one Shevet that is set aside as clergy, one Shevet that is set aside just to its spiritual pursuits and connecting to the Eibishter. The Rambam says every person of the Jewish people who wants to devote himself to that kind of life, then God will remove from him all the Rebbe says, cheshbonos rabim. The Eibishter is going to remove from us all the cheshbonos rabim, meaning all the stuff that most people are busy with, all the headaches. And even Bisman Hazeh, if a person chooses to do this and really means it and devotes himself with Mesiras Nefesh, the Eibishter says, I'll take care of it. That's what the Rambam says in Soif Hilchas Shmita v'Yovel. But the Rebbe says, fine, that Bisman Hazeh, it's only to whoever volunteers. And there's only a selected few who will join the Shevet Levi group that can do this Naso Yisroel. But he says, "B'yamoisa Mashiach," when we know that what? Lo ye'esik kol ha'olam el l'dasas Hashem bilvad, and what? And that means v'lefikach Yisroel chachamim gedolim. The Rambam says that Yidden are going to be chachamim gedolim, and even the entire world won't be busy with anything else but the pursuit of knowledge. Kolshken v'kal v'chaymer, how much more so the Jewish people will be devoted only to Torah study on the highest level. In a way, like the Rebbe explains in other places, in a manner of Torah sayim nasai, that Torah becomes our profession. And there's nothing else in our lives but that. And we don't have to give one tiny bit of our mind's energy, of our intellectual or emotional energy to seek parnasa, because in those days, it's going to be like it says over here, the Eibishter is going to take care of us in a way of abundance. Madanim mitzuyim ka'afar, everything is going to be available for us. That means every Jew is going to be from Shevet Levi at that time. So then Naso Yisroel is shayach to every single Yid, not only to Bnei Levi. In other words, even though maybe we can say that the Naso Yisroel throughout all the generations was taka only to Shevet Levi, to a selected few, but now the Rebbe says when we're already hitting Yemoisa Mashiach, this is already shayach to every Yid. Every Yid can dedicate himself in this manner of Shevet Levi and accomplish Naso. So again, let's just clinch it. What's the idea of Naso Yisroel? Naso Yisroel is the inyan of Torah Chadasha, Chidushei Torah, because the way in which you're machadish in Torah is when you elevate your seichel to the world of Tainug. And that's what Naso Yisroel means. Elevating your intellect to the world of pleasure. Both on the individual level and Torah itself. In the realms above, that Chachma is elevated to Pnimiyas HaKeser, to Pnimiyas HaTainug, and on that level, the Chidushei Torah that will flow at that time is endless and on a level that is beyond. That's called the kiss. Yishakenu Menashika Yispiyu. That's the Eibishter making us one with Him. That's how. Now, but the Rebbe said, and there is one more important inyan in the parsha. We can all hear this and say, wow, this sounds like a fairy tale. A beautiful new experience of Torah Chadash and Talagut Zachen. But it's we're deep in Golus. We're so far away. When is this ever going to happen? So for there we have another lesson that Rebbe says in this week's parsha. In this week's parsha, Parshas Naso, there is the parsha of Nazir. And what's the unique thing about Nazir? In the laws of Nazir, there is one halacha that teaches us about Mashiach's imminence and the possibility for Mashiach to come, no preconditions at all, at any moment. You know that Mashiach is possible now. That idea. Now, in Chelek Hadrush v'Hasoid, in the parts of Torah that are not halacha, okay, we can find that concept much. But where do we find it in halacha? That it's a halacha to believe that the Mashiach is possible to come right now. And even if maybe now it's not Chodesh Nisan, it's not Chodesh Tishrei, it's already summer months, it's whatever. So one could think like it's not like Mesugel for Mashiach, this is not the most opportune time. And no, there's a halacha that says that there's no difference, that Be'etzem Mashiach can come any second. What's that halacha? The halacha is as follows. If someone says, I am a Nazir, someone accepts upon himself a Nazir, to be a Nazir. A Nazir means someone who is separated from worldly things. It's taking upon himself a certain sanctity, a certain separation. So he has to keep his Naziris. If he depends it on something, so if that thing happens, he has to take upon himself this Naziris. Let's say if he says, I'm going to be a Nazir if my wife has a boy. And we're talking in a case, let's say his wife's pregnant already. So if he's not pregnant yet, then he not necessarily, but and the baby is born as a boy, so then he's a Nazir, fine. What happens if he says, I'm a Nazir on the day that Mashiach comes? So the halacha is he has to become a Nazir immediately. And he remains a Nazir. He has to accept the Nazir immediately and be a Nazir. And then tomorrow he starts again, meaning he's still a Nazir from yesterday, but he starts his 30. A Nazir really is for 30 days. That means that this person is really obligated to be a Nazir the day Mashiach comes until for 30 days after Mashiach comes. But since he doesn't know when Mashiach is going to come, so he has to start at the beginning of that day, immediately. He has to start. And every day, because Mashiach can come today. The person could turn around and say, well, it really doesn't feel like Mashiach is coming. The whole world seems like it's down the tubes. The world seems to be totally, it doesn't feel like no one seems to be into it. Whatever. All the reasons that we feel so deep in Golus, doesn't make a difference. Halacha says that Mashiach can come this instant. And therefore, you have to do it. What does that do, the Rebbe says? That makes that when we're speaking about this Torah Chadasha, Me'iti Teitze, this new novel Torah, that which the pasuk says, Me'iti Teitze, it will come out. The word Teitze implies it will happen in the future. So we can look at this, as I said earlier, as a fairy tale, as something in far off in the future, this new Torah. But since the law of Nazir says that Mashiach, which is in this week's parsha, says that Mashiach can come now, that means that the Torah Chadasha can be revealed this instant. Literally, this instant. That means that it's no more Torah Chadasha Me'iti Teitze, that the new Torah will come out, but the Rebbe says, unbelievable, Torah Chadasha Me'iti Yatza, from me it came out already. It's already out. I spilled the beans already. In a sense, think about this. The Rebbe, who's clearly indicating later in the Sikha that Mashiach already revealed himself. So the Rebbe is saying, and he's responsible, Mashiach is responsible to reveal Torah Chadasha, is saying, I really revealed this already. This is not no more lahaba. This is not the future. I mean, he's camouflaging it in his words. He's saying that since Mashiach can come any instant, so we shouldn't read it. Torah Chadasha Me'iti Teitze, it's a whole new reality. It's Torah Chadasha Me'iti Yatza. It went out already. Unbelievable. That means Torah Chadasha Me'iti, it happened already. Now it's just ours to recognize it, to see it. As he says, I mean, even though the Rebbe seems to be saying more like a hope, that since it can come every instant, so if Mashiach comes, then it's going to be Torah mechadasha me'iti yatsa that went out, so that the second after that, it happened already. Torah chadasha me'iti yatsa, it happened already. Second after. Yeah, but the fact that he's saying it seems to be that he's implying that that's taka what's going on. And that could be the reason why he taka came down Shabbos by Mincha to a Fabring and to celebrate the Hamshacha of Torah Chadasha that definitely started already that Shavuos and that Shabbos. Okay, that's how we see in the Parsha what the idea in Parshas Naso. We see the idea of what? Of Torah Chadasha. Because that's the inyan of Naso Yisroel. But in addition to that, he says, and this is in Sif Tez, we also see Eretz HaChadasha v'Aretz HaChadasha, the new world and the new earth, meaning not only as this reflects in Torah, but how this changes existence, it changes reality, and literally the chitzoniistic world will change from the Torah Chadasha, which will create a Shamayim HaChadasha. We also see it in the Parsha. Where do we see it in the Parsha? The Rebbe says the Teichen of Parshas Naso is two inyanim. Number one, counting the Leviim, the Bnei Gershon and the Bnei Kahas, and describing what their work in carrying the Mishkan is. So really, if you really boil it down, it's appointing the appointees in charge of the mobility of the Mishkan, of carrying the Mishkan, all the Masais. So even though it's not Parshas Masai, it's like Parshas Masai. It's like the Parsha that deals with carrying a Mishkan through the desert. That's number one. And in the end of the Parsha, we have the Shleimus of erecting the Mishkan. So there's two things. There is erecting the Mishkan and carrying the Mishkan through the desert. Where do we have in the end of the Parsha the Shleimus of the erecting of the Mishkan? Because in the end of the Parsha, it speaks about Chanukas HaMishkan. On the day, the Pesukim begin, it was the day which was the 8th day of Nisan. The first day of Nisan, which is the 8th day after he dismantled it and put it up for 7 days, Shivas Yemei HaMaluyim. And then came the 8th day, on that day, which was Aleph Nisan, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, all the Nesiim came and they brought for the Chanukas HaMizbeach. That's what took place that's in the end of the Parsha. So again, the two themes of Parshas Naso is the travels of the Mishkan and the putting up, and the Chanias HaMishkan, the Shleimus of the Mishkan. It says, what's the shaychus of this to the idea? If Parshas Naso is all about the name of the Parsha, reflecting, elevating the head of the Jewish people, accessing Torah Chadasha, so what does this have to do with putting up a Mishkan? What does it have to do with putting up the Mishkan? And with traveling with the Mishkan, what does one have to do with the other? So the Rebbe says we'll understand it by the general idea. Why did the Eibishter tell us the mitzvah of building a Mishkan immediately after Matan Torah? Shem just gave us Torah. He communicates the Torah to us. So the next thing should be, we should all go to Beis Medrash, Yidden, and we should learn Torah, Yomam V'Layla, for at least for 40 years. And then after that, we've really absorbed and taken it in, internalized the Torah. Then Hashem will give us a project, go out and fix the world. Why is it immediately after Matan Torah, after he's giving us the holy Torah, he's Chachmas Eretz Sinai, immediately, a second later, instantly, he tells us, make a Mishkan? The answer is, because notwithstanding the unbelievable Maila, the greatness of us accessing Torah, and which is the Eibishter's Chachma, our avodah immediately is to bring that treasure of Torah, the treasure of divinity, of godly intellect and godly mind, and the divine intelligence, and bring it not just into us, but bring it into the world. Again, Hashem wants a home in this world. So Hashem wants us to capture the Anoichi v'lo, the ultimate revelation of Matan Torah, and Hashem wants us to capture it and deliver it into creation, into the world. And that's why not stam in the world. Hashem made it happen in the Midbar. Why in the Midbar? Midbar represents the world that is not holy, the world that's a wasteland, the wilderness. In other words, to be able to bring this most sublime of sublime, where? Everywhere. Not just in one sacred place we're going to cordon off a small little area, and that's a sacred God place on top of a mountain in the Himalayas, somewhere way up there, as that's a godly place. No. In the Las Vegases of the world, in the what do you call it? In the inner cities across the world, places that are plagued with all kinds of crime, with all kinds of whatever kind of problems and difficulties, and yet even those places should become a chuber with the deepest of the deep and the highest of the high. That's where the Torah Chadasha has to reach. The main idea is it should permeate the world, everywhere in the world. Now, when is this going to happen? When are we going to have a world that captures Anochi Hashem Elokecha? And not just does it capture Anochi Hashem Elokecha, it even captures the Torah Chadasha Me'iti Teitze, the deeper inner essence of Torah that's going to be revealed after Mashiach comes. Even that is going to be revealed. We're everywhere, and in the lowest places of the world. That's only going to happen, the Rebbe says. That's the result of the Mishkan. But which Mishkan? The Mishkan in its most pristine state. What's the Mishkan in its most pristine state? The Mishkan had many. The Mishkan is a concept. What's the Mishkan? A dwelling place for God. That dwelling place takes on many different stages, many forms. Its first manifestation was that mobile home in the desert. Then it turns into the Beis Hamikdash. Its ultimate manifestation is the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi. Where do you see in the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi that when the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi establishes, when you have the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi, it realizes, it expresses, it actualizes the Mishkan to its fullest, is because, what's the Mishkan? The Mishkan is to anchor Elokus, to anchor godliness down into this world, and everywhere. So we know, Azay, and during the first Beis Hamikdash and the second Beis Hamikdash, and during the whole duration of the Mishkan, a Jew experienced the divine on a much higher level when he came to the Beis Hamikdash. When he left the Beis Hamikdash, he was back in the concealment. That's the way it is. In the Makom HaMikdash, Elokus was begilui, and outside of the Makom HaMikdash, meaning godliness was revealed, and outside the place of the Mikdash, godliness was not revealed. That's the way it was. How do you know that? Because as we know today, in the Beis HaMikdash, you can say Hashem's name explicitly. You can say the Tetragrammaton. You can speak out Hashem's name without. But outside of the Beis HaMikdash, the law is that we have to camouflage Hashem's name. We can't say Yud Kei Vav Kei. We read it differently. Why do we read it? Because Hashem is concealed. So we can't say Yud Kei Vav Kei because we can't see in time and space. We can't see the God that transcends time and space. So, but when Mashiach will come, it says, and that's why it says, here's the thing, it says a pasuk. Everywhere that I allow you, that I come, which is in the Beis HaMikdash, everywhere where I come and I will bless you, which is the Beis HaMikdash, asker Shemi, in those places you can mention my name. When Mashiach will come, we know that we will be allowed to, we won't say anymore, Baruch Ata Adai. We won't say that anymore. We won't call anymore by the name Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. We will refer to Hashem by Yud Kei Vav Kei. Everybody will say it, and no matter where you are, whether you're in Australia, you're in New Zealand, you're in China, wherever you are, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Las Vegas, across the entire world, wherever we are, a Yid will be allowed to say Yud Kei Vav Kei. Why? Because Yud Kei Vav Kei will be tangible everywhere. And obviously such a godly revelation is because it's because of the Beis HaMikdash. The third Beis HaMikdash is finally going to reveal Elokus everywhere. So that means and that's the ultimate purpose of Matan Torah. So let's go back to the parsha. In the parsha, it speaks about two parts. The final establishment of the Mishkan, which the final establishment of the Mishkan represents in its real meaning, it represents what? The Chanukas Habayis HaBeis HaMikdash HaShlishi, because only that's the Mishkan in its completion, to bring godliness completely down into the world. And another thing, the carrying of the Mishkan, which is spoken about in the beginning of the parsha, which is done through the Bnei Levi, is the work that is done in order to bring that to the entire world. It goes through the desert, and desert means, again, wilderness, and wilderness means places that are hostile, places that seem to be inhospitable to holiness and godliness, and even in those places, the emes Elokim, the emes of the Eibishter, should be revealed. So therefore, the Rebbe says, it's a deep idea, that the toichen of the parsha is really Shamayim HaChadashim V'aretz HaChadashim. Because, again, when is it going to be Shamayim HaChadashim? What's the reason why it's going to be a new heaven and a new earth? Because godliness will be revealed in the world. Which level of godliness? God himself. The Koyach HaAtzmos. That is going to be when fully realized in the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi as a result of the Mishkan. Comes out, the Rebbe says, that the toichen, if you peel away the externalities and you look at the essence of Parshas Naso, what are you seeing? You're seeing Shamayim HaChadashah, a new heaven and a new earth, which is going to be the ultimate manifestation of Mishkan. And that's what Parshas Naso is. The implementation of the Mishkan, which is really taking Torah Chadasha outside of the world of the Jewish world, outside of just the world of Torah, and revealing it all the way down into Shem. In other words, as a consequence of Torah Chadasha, we should have Shamayim HaChadasha V'aretz HaChadasha, a new heaven and a new earth. These are the two inyanim that are revealed. And now the third thing, we're just going to do it very quickly. I'm not going to get, this took a little, this is so geschmack and it's so reich. It's hard to do it bekitzer. So now, finally, let's get to the third nekuda, which is to be found in the parsha. And that is the method and how this is revealed. The method and how this is revealed is, we're saying, ultimately, what did we learn earlier? As long as we are the ones being machadish chidushim in Torah, we're only sticking our hand in as far as our hand or our minds are able to probe. We're only reaching the external level. To reach into the essence, we'll need Hashem to do it. So what, are we powerless until this happens? So the Rebbe says no. That in Parshas Naso, it's also revealed the method how each and every one of us can do it. And B'yois, and this is so gewaldig, he says, B'yois, it is known that what? And basically the Rebbe now turns to all of us and says, every single one of you can do it. Why? Because Mashiach is what? This is all obviously connected to Bias HaMashiach. When Mashiach will come, all this will happen. But who makes Mashiach come? Us. Why? Not just because because it's essentially we have to make Mashiach come. Why? Because what is Mashiach? Mashiach is Yechida. And we all have the Yechida inside of us. When we reveal our Yechidus, that forces, that compels the general Yechida to be revealed. And he brings the idea that it says, and again, the Rebbe keeps on repeating this concept, very powerful idea. It says from Sefer Ma'ir Anayim, from Reb Nachum of Chernobyl, that every single Yid has a Nitzutz Mashiach. Where does he come up with this novel idea that every Yid has a Nitzutz Mashiach? Because there's a pasuk in Parshas Balak, which is Darach Koichav Mi Yaakov, that a star will rise forth from Yaakov, which in some places in Talmud Bavli it says that is referring to Mashiach. Who is the star that's going to rise forth from Yaakov? The Kam Shevet Miso, that's Mashiach. But in Talmud Yerushalmi it says Darach Koichav Mi Yaakov, that's referring to every Jew. So who is it? And we know that when there's two Perushim on one word, both are true. Because every single Yid, Rav Nachum Chernobyl says, has a nitzutz of Mashiach. And through his galus of our nitzutz, that will cause the blazing light of the Yechida HaKlalos to be revealed. So that's what it will take. Us to really be Jews. Us to be committed all the way. Not partial commitment, not a little. In Gansen, like the chat group that's called All In. All in. You got to give it your all, your entire being. Your Yechida. When you expose your Yechida, Mashiach will be revealed. When we expose our Yechida, Mashiach. But the Rebbe says, each and every one of us, it's dependent on one Jew, on all of us. And all the Rebbe then said Chabad Chassidic, he said it's 2 or 3 people. That's all we need. Expose your yechida, reveal your yechida. When one yechida is revealed, it pulls another yechida. Now, and that too is seen in this parsha. Where do we see in Parshas Naso Gilui HaYechida? So he says, Bekitzer, it's revealed in the concept that another idea that's in Parshas Naso at the beginning is the counting of the Bnei Levi. It's again like Parshas Bamidbar, it's counting. Now the idea of counting means that every Jew. There's 2 things about counting. Number one, the idea of counting means that every Jew is equal, because in counting Jews we don't differentiate on the nature of the one that's counted. In other words, you don't have a system where some people are counted like 10 and some people are counted like 50. Like the concept, like you have one Jew who's like you have Sarei Meyoi, Sarei Asarais, Sarei Chamishim, Sarei Alafim, that you had minister, a whole judicial system where there were higher people, hierarchy. So then you should say that those people, whoever's in charge over 1,000 Jews, he should be like equivalent to 1,000 people. We don't do that. Everybody's one. Now, amongst the Jewish people, there is such a variation of types of people whose levels of spirituality are so different, from the biggest tzaddikim to the most ordinary people. How can that be? So it's explained. That there are differences between one Jew and another Jew, these are all in the levels of the neshama that are external, the outer layers of the neshama. But the essence of the neshama, every Jew is part of the essence of God, and the essence of God, you can't slice it. It doesn't have any sliceable pieces, that it's this or that. It's the Eibush there, and every piece is the whole thing. There's no differences. So therefore, every Jew is counted equally. So in the concept of counting Jews, it's related to Gilui HaYechida. That's why we also find that every time Rashi speaks about counting Jews, Rashi always mentions the idea that why is Hashem counting them? Because He loves them. Because when a counting is related to us being Him, and that's what we're talking about love over here. We're talking love on the deepest level. We're talking about the hafti eschem omer Hashem, the ava atzmis, the essential love that there is between God and the Jewish people, because we are one. And that's Nizgala in Parshas Naso, in the counting. So therefore, he says, Parshas Naso expresses the idea of Gilui HaYechida, which is, and obviously it's an empowerment for us to be counted. That means that we should really feel that we count, that each and every one of us has within himself the power of everything, because we have Mashiach inside of us. A Gilui of, and every Yid has it. It's just that the spark should shine. And it's also revealed in the end of the parsha, the Rebbe says, in the beginning. In the beginning, it's the counting of the Bnei Levi, so it's the idea of counting Jews equally. And at the end of the parsha, it's the Nesiim bringing karbanos. The fact that all the Nesiim brought equal karbanos is again an equality. And not only that, Rashi says that Hashem considered it as if every single one of them all offered every day. That means you see a very deep, essential unity amongst the Jewish people. And that too reflects Yechidah Shebenefesh. Okay, I'm going to leave it. He continues to express that Yechid is revealed also in the beginning of Parshas Ba'aloischa, which is a continuation to this, but I'm going to leave this Be'ezus Hashem for next week. He's also going to explain how this idea, these 3 inyanim, the Torah Chadasha, the Shemayim HaChadasha, and the way Gilui HaYechida is also revealed in Pirkei Avos of this week. And all of that, how that leads up to and then how it's all revealed in Shabbos. And finally, what's so special about the year Tafshin Nun Aleph, that when the Rebbe was revealing it. Be'ezus Hashem, join us next week, Wednesday, in the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi for the finality of this magnificent Torah Chadasha Sikha. Everybody should have a Geula. We should be Zeicha to the Geula Shalema, take of a miyad, mamish, mamish, mamish.